Hey everybody, I wanted to try to get in touch with you this morning. I've worked all afternoon yesterday, thought I had a video done and I couldn't download it. So I went to the YouTube channel, I've created an account there, and the good thing about doing this on YouTube, I'll still be able to post them on Facebook. But by doing them on YouTube, those of y'all that have Netflix and the Roku stick and all that, you can actually pull this up on your TV. You can go to the free YouTube channel, not YouTube TV, but the actual YouTube channel, and you can pull this up. It'll be under Safe in the Storm, Donald Cantrell, and you'll be able to pull it up. But I just wanted to get with everybody, lest everybody remember Judy Carter. I just talked to her the morning before she fell, and she was in such a great mood. And she told me, said, Don, maybe when all this is over, I'll be able to come back to church. And then she fell the next morning around 11 o'clock. And remember what I said the other day in my email. If you have to go to the hospital, nobody can't go with you. And nobody couldn't go with Judy. And hopefully she's back home by now. And home health care is going to come out and work with her from her house. But we're praying for everybody. The governor's just put us all on a shelter in place and asking everybody to stay at home and not be getting out. And this is dangerous. It's a little bit more dangerous than we thought it would be to begin with. You can tell by listening to the president that he's worried about this. And but God's in control. I want to read you some scripture. I'm doing something a little different today, so y'all bear with me. It said that this is out of the book of Mark, chapter 4, verse 35. And the same day when even was come, he said unto them, Let's pass over unto the other side. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him, even as he was in the ship. And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full. And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on his pillow. And they awake him, and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? And they feared exceedingly, and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey? I want you to think about something with me as we look at this scripture here. We're going to be able to see something that's just amazing. You know, where this was, Jesus was, him and his disciples were in this storm. And but before they did, he gave them a simple order. Jesus said, here's what I want us to do. We're going to get in the boat, and we're going to the other side. Well, this place that he gets in this boat is called the Sea of Galilee, or the Lake of Gennesaret. And this thing is surrounded by dozens of little towns, especially in the days of Christ. And it was a beautiful lake. And this thing was 13 miles long, and it was 6 miles wide. And it was steep around it. Big old mountains and gorges and basins come down through that thing. And the Jordan River come in one end and flowed out the other end, and eventually went into the Dead Sea. So, as y'all bear with me, I've not got my iPad. I'm using my iPad to record this thing because I had a lot of trouble with my phone yesterday. But this thing was very beautiful. But here's the deal: Jesus told them, said, "Get in the boat. We're going to the other side." Now here's what I want us to gather out of this. If Jesus tells us we're going to the other side, we're going to the other side. He gave them a simple order. He didn't tell them, what I was going to take place, get to the other side. He said, we're going to the other side. He didn't tell them how long it was going to take them. He said, we're going to the other side. He didn't say there's going to be a storm coming. He said, we're going to get to the other side. Now, here's the deal. If God tells us something, we need to simply obey him. If he just gives us some directions, that's enough. Obey him. He didn't tell these guys nothing. Get in the boat. We're going to the other side. So when God gives us orders, we need to obey and realize that if he tells us something, it's going to happen and he's going to get us through it. The second thing that we see here is, I love this right here, and there were also with him other little boats. There were other ships. God showed me something out of this that I never saw. I heard my uncle preach on this years ago, and I can't even remember what he preached, but I very distinctly mentioned him mentioning the other little boats. Here's what God showed me. The Baptists are not the only one. The Methodists are not the only one. The Church of Gods are not the only one. The Catholics, they're not the only one. The Pentecostals, they're not the only one. The Evangelicals, they're not the only one. Though we think we're the only ones, there's more. There's people out there, they may not agree with me doctrinally, but if they believe that Jesus Christ is the way of salvation, plus nothing, minus nothing, those folks are saved. They don't have to agree with everything I believe. They don't have to agree with my music, with my preaching, with my style, with your music, with your preaching, with your style. There's others. Well, God showed me that. We don't all have to agree doctrinally. We don't got to all have to agree on prophetic stuff, but even at that, there's other little ships. And here's the thing about it. I mean, we got Baptists, we got Southern Baptists, we got Independent Baptists, we got Missionary Baptists, we got Primitive Baptists, we've got just any kind of Baptist, that Free Will Baptist. I don't even know how many Baptists there is. But here's the deal. There's other little boats. And then here's what God showed me also. These other little boats, they went in that same storm. They went out in that same sea. They got to watch him stand up, speak up, and shut up that storm, and they all got to see it. Boy, ain't that a blessing? There's others. You're not the only one facing what you're going through right now. You're not the only one that's battling what you're going through. Hey, some of you right now worried to death about your finances. There's some of you worried to death right now about your health. There's some of you fighting with every fiber of your being for your marriage right now. There's some of you that you're in a battle over your children right now. There's some people that they're battling over drugs. They're battling over alcohol. They're battling over some sort of addiction. But can I tell you this? There's other little boats. You're not the only one. See, sometimes we think, man, this is only coming to me. I'm the only one struggling. I'm the only one battling. But you know what God said? There's other little boats. And they're going in the same storm that you're going in. Boy, I don't know about you, but I like that. I like knowing that there's others that's in this thing with me. I am not the only one. Then we see the sudden onslaught. We see these guys, they get in the boat, they head out. There's others in other little boats. They head out, they go, and as they get out there, the Sea of Galilee was 600 feet below sea level. All over the sides of it, there were these mountains, and then this air would rush down from these mountains and hit this heated air. This hot air would roll down and hit the cold air that was up on this lake, and the next thing you know, there would be upheaval in the water. The word for storm is lilaps, Lailaps. It means storm. It means a whirlwind, a tempestuous wind. It can mean a violent attack, a wind, or a squall. I mean, here's the deal. This wind that blowed in upon them, this storm that blowed in upon them, this thing the wind would blow down and the wind would blow up. And I mean, it caused like a little whirlwind. Are you facing a storm today? You know, God don't give us no fair warning that a storm is getting ready to come our way. It just blows in. I mean, this thing just comes in up on us, and the next thing we know, we are in a storm. I mean, storms, they come at us. We don't want them. We don't ask for them. But before you know it, we're in the middle of a storm. I mean, for 1 minute, we seem like we got the world by the horns. The next minute we lose our grips and we got the world by the tail, and we're fighting and we're doing everything we can to hang on. I thought, man, that's good. God, that is wonderful that you show us that storms are going to come our way. Then the next thing, I see the startling observation here, and he was in the hindermost part of the ship, asleep on a pillow, and they awakened him. And they said, Master, carest thou not that we perish? Here's the deal. These guys are fighting for their life. I mean, they don't know. The boat's filling up. It said the boat is about full of water. The thing's getting ready to sink. Seasoned sailors, seasoned fishermen, they are fighting for their life, and they think the boat's about to go under. And then finally it hits them. Jesus is in the boat. And they walk over there and they look, and here they are frantic and they're worried, and he's asleep. You know what God showed me on that? It's okay. Jesus wasn't sitting up worried. He wasn't sitting up all tore up. He wasn't sitting up biting his fingernails. He wasn't crying out and said, oh God, what am I going to do? He was asleep. That even though this ship was about to sink, even though the storm had rolled up on them and these men were frantic and they were worried, Jesus Christ was asleep in the ship. You know what God showed me? He said in Hebrews 13:5, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Remember what he told him? He said, we're going to the other side. You better remember God's promises when the storm hits. When your life is falling apart, remember the promises of God. Trust in the promises of God. And even though you can't see him, he's there. Even though you can't feel him, he's there. Jesus was in the boat with these guys. He wasn't fighting with them. He wasn't trying to keep the boat from sinking. He was over there asleep because it was okay. I don't know about y'all, but I like that. Then you know what else God showed me? And this is me, this is probably you. We see the little spontaneous outbursts. Master, carest thou not that we perish? Jesus, do you not understand? How many of us went to him? God, you don't understand. God, I serve you, I love you, I give, I go to church. I don't cuss, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. We do all those things, don't we? Why did you let this happen to me, God? Have you ever made a sudden outburst against God? A sudden accusation against God? God, do you not care? My life's coming unglued and you don't even care. Job said, I turned my right and he went there. I turned my left and he went there. I looked behind me and he went there. I looked in front of him. If I could just find him, I would plead my case before God. And I don't even know where he's at. Have you ever been there? Have you ever feel like God's went to sleep on you? Have you ever felt like in the middle of your storm, God's asleep? Well, he was with these disciples, but he was still there, and he was still in control. Have you ever said, God, do you not love me? God, do you not care? And then we see the spectacular occasion. He stood up. Boy, I love this. He arose. He rebuked. He stood up. He spoke up. He rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, peace be still. And the wind ceased and there was calm. He stood up, he spoke up, and he shut it up. Jesus healed, calmed 2 storms that day. He calmed the waves in the sea, but he calmed the worries in the saints. You know what I need God to do when the storms come my way? Calm me. Let me realize he's right there with me. Let me realize that no matter what's coming my way, He's with me. God, just calm me. God, calm my soul. Calm my storm. Everything else will take care of its place. He stood up. He spoke up. And he shut it up. Then he looked at them guys and he said, fellas, let me ask you something. Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? He said, guys, you're worried to death and I'm right here with you. Why is it you tried to fight that storm and didn't wake me up anyway? Why is it that you tried to keep the boat from sinking and when I was right there, all you had to do is call on me? That's a lesson for us. God's right there with us. We may not see Him, we may not can find Him, but a lot of times our last resort in life is going to God when He ought to be the first choice. Then we see this spoken ovation. They feared Him. The first fear was a bad fear. The second fear was a good fear. The first fear was faulty. They was worried about the storm. The second fear was a fabulous fear. They was adoring Him. They was worshiping Him. They was giving Him all the accolades and all the glory. Then they said, what manner of man is this? They had already seen Jesus do a lot of stuff. Heal the blind, touch the leper, make the lame be able to walk. On some occasions, Jesus would raise the dead. There had never, ever been a man that had walked upon the face of the earth that could calm the seas. This miracle might have been the first time in their life when they realized that this man was different than any man that had ever lived. There had been a lot of people claim to heal people. There had been a lot of people claim to raise up dead people. There had been a lot of claims to do this, but nobody had ever got in a boat and went out in the ocean and spoke to the sea and spoke to the waves and spoke to the wind and it stopped and there's perfect peace. No man had ever done that. You're safe in the storm. Folks, can I tell you, whatever storm you're going through, Jesus is right there with you. Whatever storm you're going through, Jesus can get you through it. I love you. I'm praying for you. If I can help you, I will. Antioch, please keep praying for each other. Please pray for me as I pray for you. God's going to get us through this thing. I love you. God bless you.